Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I am James from Arca Solutions. I'm the founder of Arca Solutions. And we have Emerson here and Gabriel, our marketing team. And we're looking forward to our webinar today on data acquisition. So let's go ahead and jump in. First, for people that are new to our webinars, I just wanted to give a quick background on eDirectory and what it is. Essentially, it's a platform to allow you to create online directories, online guides, which also have listings and that type of thing in them. One of the big things with online directories is, of course, data acquisition, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. And as I get this set up, a little bit of housekeeping. If anybody has any questions, you can just pop them right into the chat, and we will stop periodically and take the questions, and then at the end we'll review all the questions. Okay, well, great. Yeah, so data acquisition. So how to get data into your directory, how to create your online guide and get data into it. That's what we're going to talk about today. So the first thing is just, why is this so important? Having good quality data. Really, it's at the core of your user experience. When your user experience is coming to your guide or your directory, what they're looking for is to find some information about something, they're interested in something and want to understand what's good, what's bad, what do people think about things, etc. And so you need to have this data. The listing data is at the core of it. And keep in mind that quality content is very, very important. It is what attracts Google. Most directory sites, they receive 60+% of their traffic off of Google, and Google's pretty smart these days, and really they go after the high quality content. So you really want to get your listings and your data inside your directory to be really good quality. So data is really the key asset you're building. Even the software and the platform, we often see a lot of people come and they spend all their time thinking about the software and the system and all that, but really what it is the content that makes these sites successful, and the data is the content at the end of the day. So it is the key asset you're building more than any software development or anything else you're doing. Really what you're building is a data asset. So quality is key. Data is everywhere. Why does somebody prefer yours? You can do a search on Google. You can do a search on a lot of sites these days and find a lot of information. But if your site has much higher quality, that's really curated into a great list, into a great guide, people will come and visit you, and also Google will send people into your site. So quality breaks down to 4 things typically. The first one is the breadth. Do you have all of the listings available? Do you have everything out there? That's the first thing for quality. The second one is depth. For each of those individual listings, do you really have depth of information about each one of them? The third thing is error-free, which usually means your data is up to date. In the US, this is pre-pandemic. I read somewhere that businesses move every 5 to 7 years on average. So if you're not constantly updating your list, 20% of that list is going to go bad every year. And so having quality data, updating the list is really important as well. And then the last thing for quality, kind of the big thing, is having something that nobody else has, because a lot of the data is just commodity data out there. And so there's a couple ways you can try to achieve something unique. One of them is just to have data that's sort of hard to find out there, that nobody else has, a list of niche suppliers, things like that. The other one is stuff that's tedious to put together. If you really have some intricate data that has a lot of detail to it. One of the big things that people often don't think about is the data well curated? Curated actually means cutting data that isn't relevant. It essentially reduces the clutter. You go to Google and it might pull up a zillion things, but if you go to a niche site about a specific topic that's only on that topic, that really helps the user experience. So quality often comes down to that, and that's a big thing that I certainly recommend you think about when building your data set. And so plan your data strategy. The first thing is setting some goals, then doing an initial build, and then having a plan for your ongoing maintenance. So as far as goals are, there should be probably a depth goal, which is what are the fields for each listing that you're looking for. And obviously there's basic fields that everybody has, but the more info you have, it goes a long way. What year was the business founded? How many employees do they have? What products or services they offer, that type of thing. And also the breadth goal in terms of which markets are you going to go through. So you can have every possible listing available, but often it's a good idea to think about that strategically, because you may not have the resources when you're just getting started to cover every market. And so one of the classic business cases I like to mention is the case of Craigslist. And Craigslist is sort of important. It's a great site for finding information, but also it's a great business case study for internet history. And essentially, the Craigslist decimated the newspaper classified industry, just destroyed it. And newspaper classifieds used to be a huge part of the revenue for most newspapers, multi-billion-dollar industry. And Craigslist was able to destroy it because they basically gave everything super cheap or free away. But the quality of the information and the content in Craigslist was often better than the printed newspapers, even the printed newspapers' online sites. So how did they achieve their goal? They started very strategically, where they started with just focusing on a couple categories. I think it was housing, finding an apartment, and I think it was San Francisco where they started. And then they expanded that to more categories within San Francisco. And then they switched to the next market. So instead of going too thin everywhere, they really focused on a breadth goal that they could achieve. So certainly think about that when you're building your data, like how can I build a really great user experience? If you're not going to build a good user experience, don't do it. Really just get started and go hard on a couple categories and a couple locations instead of spreading thin everywhere. And then set a timeline for what you're trying to do. Okay, I'm going to build this market or this category, this month and next month, et cetera, et cetera. It's always good to have a timeline and to set your goals. So the initial data build, it doesn't happen by itself, is the first thing. So you got to put some work into it. Often people set up a directory like, oh, people can sign up on their own and nobody's coming. What's going on? And well, you got to get things moving, and then people start to join. Nobody wants to eat in an empty restaurant. They like to see it crowded and full. So you got to make that initial thing happen. One thing to keep in mind is thinking about SEO for your categories, especially, but really your whole site as you're building your data. Different keywords that may be synonymous. Car and automobile have very different traffic. Acquire or build, or you should acquire a list. You can or build it and then improve it after you get the initial list. And then after that, basically you send emails and contact people to claim their listing and update it themselves. That's kind of the general model on the initial build there. So the list acquisition, there's a couple ways to do it. You can manually search and build. It's a great way to get started, where especially for smaller directories, you just do Google searches, search other places, and then put everything together, probably in a spreadsheet, and then import it into eDirectory. eDirectory has a great import feature that we'll show you here in a minute. Also, you can use a scraping tool to do that, semi-automated fashion. You really need to be careful about copyright laws around that, around scraping data. And you don't want to just go copy somebody's site and put that up. Really need to make it your own, but it's a good way to get basic business information, which I think is not copyrightable, but I'm not a lawyer, but basically business name, address, email, etc. That isn't, you can't copyright that, but the descriptions of it is probably ours, so you don't want to necessarily scrape that, but it's a good way to get started, at least to get a list of what's out there doing that. And then you can also make a partnership with an organization, chambers of commerce, trade organizations, etc. They often have great lists of their members and partners there. Also, you can buy a list from a list broker. There's lots of list brokers. It's a great way to get started. Data Axle USA used to be Info USA, pretty good quality list, a little bit expensive. Data Axle, I think they'll tell you how many listings are available for each market, you know, in a category in a certain zip code or city or state. So you can at least use that to set your goals. Axiom, giant billion-dollar data company, Dun & Bradstreet as well, Hoover's, CityGrid. I think Yelp sells data possibly. A couple low-quality ones. There's one out there, Audi Software, the data supplier. You can do a Google search. There's lots of them out there. Just find one. Some are better at certain categories or types of business than other ones. So after you have your initial list, it's really important that you make it your own and improve it. And so you can do that manually. You need to go through each category so that the site looks good, and just make sure you have good listings and everything looking good in each category. To do it in scale, you can outsource it. There's a bunch of companies that, you know, overseas companies that specialize in it. You can find those online as well. Often I would recommend doing a good part of it yourself, at least on a sampling basis, so that you really understand how it works, how much time it takes, what the quality you're looking for is, that type of thing. That'll help you manage a process as you scale. Also freelancing, or you can get freelancers to do it. And then one thing that works pretty well is doing it as part of your sales process, where you get your sales reps to do research, build a listing, go contact the listing and try to sell them, and then put it in as part of their activity. You need to do X of these per day or per hour, and then you can even pay them some commission based on their activity, even if they don't necessarily sell that. And you'll find over time that helps you build out a process and get your sales process running as well. One other thing we have is a Yelp integration. You can go to the site on the mod store. We do have a Yelp integration that'll fill in, it sort of fills in listings like for certain categories and stuff if you don't have all the data yourself. It helps with the UX if your directory is a little bit empty. It's probably not super great for SEO, but we do have people that wanted to get it just to fill out certain categories that are lower priority or certain areas. So you can check that out if you want to. And then reach out to account exec if you're interested in that as well. Just want to mention that. Next, we have a couple demonstrations. So I will turn it over to, I believe, Gabriel's up first.
Yes, that's for me first.
So I will turn it over to them. Go ahead, Gabriel.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to demonstrate real quickly how you can scrape data using a tool called Octopars. Octopars is a software that is usually mainly for this. You can scrape data from Yelp, eBay, Amazon, Booking. So I'm going to show you how to scrape data from Yelp real quickly. Let me share my screen. Okay, so are you seeing my screen right now? Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say I want to import data from a Yelp search. Let's say I'm looking for sushi restaurants in Austin, Texas. The tool we are working with now is this tool, this guy right here, Octopars. So I'm not diving too deep with this tool. So if you guys definitely want to check it out, please visit their website, and they have a ton of information here. So just for the purpose of demonstration, I'm going to briefly dab into it. So let's say I want to scrape this information right here inside Yelp for sushi restaurants. What you want to do is you're going to copy the URL from the page. I'm going to open my Octopars. Let's say, okay. This is the home page for the website. Okay, so you're going to paste the category from Yelp, and you're going to click Start. Once you click Start, Octopus is going to render the same page that you were seeing before on your browser inside it. So it's going to map everything out inside the software. Okay, so it's going to tell that web page is loading. We can wait a little second, and then Octopus is going to automatically run through the entire page. It's going to start detecting the page data. What does it mean? Let me wait for it to finish. and then let's see the results that it can get to us. Okay, so it's pretty much done. What happened here is the tool read all the listings informations, as you can see here. Let me just clear this out of the way. Okay, so this is the regular listing you see on your own Yelp, and it transformed this data into this data right here, some sort of like Excel file, you know, like a bunch of columns and cells like a spreadsheet. So this is readable. This is something we can import inside the directory, or so you can have, like, say, your first listings ready to go with no hustle. So what you're going to do next is going to click the save button. So you're going to create a new task right here, and you're going to click run. Once you click run, you're going to select run on your device. This is a free feature. If you want to go to the paid one, it's going to run in the cloud, so you have more options. Let's say you can run like multiple tasks at the same time. So it's a really powerful tool for doing that. For the purpose of the demonstration, you're going to click on run on your device. What's going to happen now is Octopars is going to render this data right here that it just collected into a readable file. So it could be an Excel file or a CSV file or a JSON file for someone who's into software development that can read that, or if you have a team to do that for you. So once again, we have the lab set time running here. Okay, let's try again. So we have the page open right here. And what Octopars is going to do is going to run again and try to extract as much data as possible from this search. So yeah, let's try again. Let me run again. Yeah, this app is kind of tricky. Sometimes you don't get what you're expecting, but just try it again. Just give it some time.
Yeah, and one thing I just want to mention again here is you really need to understand the copyright laws in your jurisdiction, sure. And certainly any copyrightable info off these sites, you don't want to be importing that into your directory.
Yeah, just be sure about any.
Yeah, it could be a good base to kind of get started, to know what's out there, that type of thing.
Yeah. Okay, but anyway, since we have all this data already selected, we're going to export that from the software. And what it's going to ask you is what kind of file you want to save it as. I have it here on my computer already saved, an example for us. So I saved an Excel file. So pretty much easy to read. So what you're going to do is it's going to give you all this listing information right here inside an Excel file. So you can pretty much open it, edit however you want it. You can change the column names if you're not familiar with this. You can add all your own listings right here if you want to, let's say. And it's pretty much it. So after you have this Excel file ready to import, I'm going to turn over to Emerson so he can demonstrate how you can import this file into your directory.
Okay, thank you, Gabriel. I think that it worth mentioning that there are different methods and ways to scrape to using this Octopars software. So we just picked one randomly to show you how easy it is to handle. I'm pretty sure they have a knowledge base, so you can go deep inside this tool. There are other tools available as well, but we are testing and using this one for testing purposes, and it was we had pretty good results with this. So let me just share my my screen. There's a question from Andrew. Hello, Andrew. Is that what the run button does effectively allow you, ask you how you want to export? I'm pretty sure this Gabriel can review and ask you.
Yes, sure, Andrew. What the run button does is it renders that data file into a readable file. So you can transform that info that Octopars just gathered inside an Excel or a CSV file. Pretty much translates everything, so you can easily to work with.
Okay. So now it's my turn. I believe you can see my screen now. So that's the dashboard from eDirectory website. We just go to contents. You see the import here for listings. I already have the file that Gabriel generated. So let me just drag the file here. The next steps where we have to map the contents. As I'm using an edited spreadsheet, I already put the right headers, so it reads the maps, the fields here. Let me just double check. Okay, city, state, country. Okay, so good to go. Next. 31 rows cannot be imported. Okay, because it's an empty file, so there's no issue on that. Default level for listings without level specified. Let's put everything into diamond level. We are using restaurant, so category, so we can use this listing templates. Set all imported items as active. Update, import all items to the same user account. You can put this under your account, for example, if you want to. Okay, and that's it. We hit next. And okay, if your file has less than 5,000 records, it will be read immediately. Otherwise, it will be put on a queue for another time to be completed. So that's it. Now we have all the listings imported. So in a few minutes, you can export, you can scrape a website, get data, and import into your eDirectory, and you have your listings ready to go. Let me just get one here. Let's see on the website. Okay, that's it. We just created this listing in like 5 minutes or so, or less than 5 minutes. And we also have the Yelp plugin that helps to populate even better this data with more contents. Gabriel can activate the plugin while we can see this, this page. We also have some listings on the homepage already set for this. Just let me know, Gabriel, when you activate the plugin.
It is ready now.
Okay, so let me just refresh the. Let me open this one. Oh, okay, it will open the updated. Okay, when we activate the Yelp, it pulls more information like reviews, working hours, descriptions, photos. So it will be displayed here. Let me see the Viselli Saloon. Okay, now you can see the reviews from Yelp, more information, pictures, photos. If we deactivate, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and if I can just jump in here and make a comment on the Yelp plugin. I know we're selling the Yelp plugin, but I just want to recommend, if you don't need it, I don't recommend using it, just because the Yelp branding is all over the place, and I'm not sure that it's very good for SEO to sort of have that duplicate content on there. So it is a great, easy way to sort of get things up and looking good, but if you don't need it, don't use it.
Okay, so I guess that's it from me, from my part, James. Okay. I'm stopping sharing now.
Great. Yeah, we had a couple of questions come in here. Let me just jump in and answer these. Okay. Regarding copyright, how might you suggest a person finds that out? Any thoughts on what to search or look up? Yeah, I would search for Canadian copyright laws and that type of thing, and you'll find there's a bunch of guides and information out there about where you are. You can obviously talk to a lawyer and pay for that as well. In the United States, they have a bunch of laws, as well as a thing called the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which is a process that copyright owners can use to issue takedown notices and stuff like that for people that are doing copyright violations. And so it's probably good to understand how all that process works, what the laws are, all that sort of thing. So I'd say just research it. you'll find the information's out there on the internet. All right, one more question. Is there a fee to use Octopars? Yeah, so Octopars, it's kind of a freemium. I think they have a free way to use it, and then if you want to use it in scale, there's some cost to that. There are also other platforms out there that do that sort of thing as well. In terms of showing us again, Gabriel, what we can do is showing you how that works again. We'll just put you in touch, and we can reach out to you and give you, give you some more information personally about how the Octopars work. Give you a little quick demo again. I think we'll do that personally since we already showed it here and we're on limited time today. Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, thanks everybody. Are there any more questions? Any more questions? Okay, wait, we got one popped up in the Q&A. Are the webinars recorded? Yes, they are recorded. Emerson's going to post he'll have this posted, I think, up to our website. It comes up in the blog area, right, Emerson, the webinars. Yeah, so it'll be up.
Yes.
Probably sometime tomorrow it'll be up. Update on the latest version of eDirectory and mobile apps. Yeah, we're working hard on that. We're coming to the end of both of these, and we're running to get these done. So we're hoping to get a new version out. Probably, just to be safe, I need to say early next year, like very early, like January-ish timeframe on that. As far as new version of eDirectory and the apps, we're constantly releasing new updates and all of that, but I don't have much more information about that at this point. But yeah, all right, great. Any more questions?
Yes, there's another one. What is the maximum amount of records you can import at one time?
Yes, so larger files, what they do is they go into a queue and then they're run into the background process, right? Emerson, do you know what the limit is on the file upload? Do you know the size? It's a file size.
If there is less than 5K lines, it goes immediately.
Okay. Yeah, so if it's more than that, I think you can update it and then it loads it in there and then it'll process it. We have people running directories with multiple million listings. And so if you're having a problem with scale, you can just contact our support team and we can figure out what to do to get more data in there. Obviously, if you're running some giant, huge directory with millions of listings, you may need a dedicated server or something a little bit heavier than our sort of standard offering there, but we can certainly help you depending on what the needs are. Yeah, you may just need to import them in small batches or reach out to our support and they can help you do that. Another question, what's the difference between CVS and Excel? It's actually, the file format is CSV, and it's comma separated value is what that stands for versus Excel. So comma separated value, it's basically, if you open it in a text editor, you'll see it's like one column with a comma, then the next column with a comma, then the next column with a comma. And that's how the format is, line by line, row by row. And if you want to put a comma in one of the columns, there's a way to escape it with the slash. And so it's a very, very simple file format. The Excel format is a format put out by Microsoft, obviously, you know, who built Microsoft Excel. And that format has much more formatting information in it, like fonts, and you can even put function calls and all sorts of stuff in the Excel format. If you're using Excel to edit your data, all you do is go in there and hit save as and then export as CSV. All of the spreadsheet programs have CSV export. You can do that from Google Sheets. You can do that from Numbers, which is Apple's pre-installed spreadsheet package on their system as well. Okay, well, great. Well, I guess thanks everybody. Thanks for your time today. If anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to either our marketing team. You can do that at marketing@edirectory.com or our support team, support@edirectory.com. Okay, all right.